In life, in the world, one of the most important things is insulation, thermal insulation. If we did not have thermal insulation, it would be impossible to cook, you know. You have to be able to insulate yourself from the heat. So, thermal insulation. Electrical insulation is obvious. Unless you have electrical insulation, you cannot use any electrical gadget, and our life would have changed completely without electricity. Magnetic. There are certain equipment that need to be protected from magnetic influences. Similarly, in life, at the mental level, you need insulation. You need insulation from the shocks that the world has to offer, from the ups and downs that the world has to offer. Without your knowing it, without your being directly responsible for it, things happen in the world. And you often wonder, so why do these things happen? Why is it I'm affected? We get affected because we are not insulated. The moment you get insulated, what happens? You enjoy the ups and downs of life. Just as you can enjoy heat, you can enjoy the fruits of electricity, you can enjoy the rewards of nuclear energy only when you are insulated. So what is this insulation? Self-knowledge, spiritual knowledge. And we must appreciate, all of us must appreciate the fact that only in this country is this insulation, spiritual insulation, provided in such abundance to every category of human being, at every level of spiritual development. This knowledge is available. And so therefore, we need to acknowledge this. We need to be grateful for this. And we need to commit ourselves to using this knowledge well, and then becoming beacon lights for the rest of the world to follow. This has been our role in history, and this will continue to be our role in the future. The only thing is we have to awaken to that role. Today we are in deep slumber. As I happened to see on a program on TV the other day, there was a professor of Harvard University who was talking about how we don't know our real worth. We don't know what we have to contribute to the world. We don't know what our potential is. And it is this knowledge that helps us to attain that. So coming back, this insulation is self-knowledge. Modern technology, modern science and technology has, as it is, we are affected by the world. As it is, we are tempted by the world. As it is, we are in trouble as far as the world is concerned. But modern technology has got us to a state where they have refined sense objects to such a high degree that whatever little self-control you may have, that also goes in the face of technology. You see huge billboards with, say, a pizza, 100 times the size of the real pizza. And even if you feel that, oh, let me control myself, you see that and you're finished. In the past, when your children went to America to study, I remember in those days, 20-25 years back, when the son went to America, with great difficulty, somehow he used to put together his resources to call home once a month. And in that once a month that he called, there was a limit, 3 minutes you spoke and finished, that was it. And in those 3 minutes here, the parents would actually allocate time and say, you ask this question and I will ask this question. so rare it was and so exciting it was. Today, I know a lady here who speaks to her son. Her son has just gone to America a few months ago. She speaks to him 1 hour every day. Don't believe me? I'll introduce you to her. But the beauty of it was, all the years that he was here with her, she didn't speak more than 5 minutes to him. Because she was too busy partying and he was too busy going to his friends. Rarely once a week they used to have lunch or dinner together. Now, 1 hour every day. In the beginning when he was homesick, he was also attached, she is also attached, so they matched each other's attachment. But now, after a few months, he's found his friends, he's got his life, he's got his timetable, he's got things to do, and the mother's call is a positive nuisance. And what does she speak? What can you speak even to your child for 1 hour every day? That beats me. So what does she say? Yesterday Papa and I had a fight. So he says, so what's new, Mummy? This happens every day. What we're saying is, this attachment is enhanced by modern technology. And now, as if that was not bad enough, you have this webcam, fantastic technology. You know what it is? One little camera that you put in front of your computer, and you can speak to each other and you can see the other person. Fabulous, mind-boggling, but it further lures you into attachment. It doesn't give either the child or the mother or whoever it is a chance to readjust to the present circumstance, because you are constantly riding on his back and he is constantly waiting for you to call and speak to each other, and that ruins the relationship. Intellectually, there is so much knowledge available that it causes this famous analysis paralysis. Here it's not so bad. In the United States, you go to a supermarket for the slightest thing, one little small product you have to buy, there are 100 variations available, 100 different brand names available. Which one do you buy? What do you select? How do you get on with it? Now, there is a company in Boston that has introduced software to help you select by an Indian. So it is, thank God, at least an Indian gets some job, some profit. So this is what happens. Only a spiritual person can enjoy all this modern technology, because only the spiritual person is detached. Only the spiritual person is insulated. And therefore, this technology, which ideally should be a blessing to us, today has become a curse, because it gets us more involved in the world, more entangled, more attached, and whatever little trace of sanity there was in us, that also goes. So therefore, the spirituality is of utmost importance in the modern day and age. 100 years ago, it wasn't that crucial, because technology hadn't developed so much. Today, it is absolutely necessary. And once you master this art, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says, you become like an expert dancer. Have you seen a dance performance? The dancer dances, it's like there's a challenge between the musical accompaniment and the dancer. The more complicated the rhythm, the more she is challenged to keep up with it. But never a false move does she make. Not one false move. And how beautifully she manages the stage. The space available to her, the hand movements, the foot movements, the abhinaya, the facial expression, and the theme that she's conveying to the audience is managed beautifully. A spiritual person is one who does that. The world is his stage. And he manages that world so aesthetically, so artistically, so beautifully. But you and I get on the stage of life and dance like we have two left feet. Totally out of sync. There's no music, there's no rhythm, there's no nothing. And how to get back to that? Develop this insulation, gain the knowledge, and then you'll become an expert dancer. But you don't have to go and dance, please. It's just an example that Ramakrishna Paramahamsa gave. And yesterday we were speaking of Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Vibhaga Yoga, the distinction between Kshetra, field, matter, and Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. And we discussed how crucial it was to know the distinction. If you don't know the distinction, it results in confusion in the mind, and the mind's confusion leads to disastrous living. And we ended yesterday with 24 aspects of Kshetra matter. And now we move on to 7 more aspects in verse 7.
Ichha dvesha sukham dukham sanghatas chetana dhrutihi etat kshetram samasena savikaram udarutam.
Desire, Ichha, hatred, Dvesha, Sukham, pleasure, Dukkham, pain, Sanghata, the aggregate, means the body, intelligence, consistency. This is Kshetra, the field, and its modifications declared succinctly. This, in fact, verse 7 is a continuation of verse 6. So when he says this is Kshetra, he includes the 24 aspects that we discussed yesterday in verse 6. So the 7 aspects, constituents of matter that were left over after the 24 that he gave are subtler. Yesterday we saw they were more gross, actual matter. This is subtle matter. Ichha, desire. What is desire? How do you define desire? Desire is the strategy of the intellect to fulfill an unfulfillment. Every one of us from birth to death is haunted by a sense of emptiness within. And it is because you feel empty within, because you feel deficient within, your thoughts go out, the intellect sends out thoughts to the world, and this is the intellect strategy, in the hope that when you obtain objects or beings or whatever it is from the world, this sense of emptiness, this deficiency will be filled. And all of us are engaged in this every moment of our lives. First thing when you wake up, you want a cup of coffee or tea or whatever it is that you want. Why? Because this deficiency pushes you. And right through the day, right through your life. You do gain objects of the world, but is this sense of unfulfillment, emptiness taken care of? Yes, no? No. Why? This you may not know. Because Vedanta says you are actually not empty. You are full. You're completely full, overflowing. But for some strange, inexplicable reason, you don't know you're full. And when you don't know you're full, you become a fool. So desire, Ichha, is this plan, the strategy of the intellect to fulfill this unfulfillment. And then what happens? Once you have the desire, your thought flow is going from you to a particular object or being, and if something else comes and obstructs it, then your thought flow gets deflected as anger. So ichcha, whenever you have ichcha, dvesha automatically comes, because something or the other, somebody or the other will obstruct you. And then when the desire gets fulfilled, as thank God sometimes it does, then you get pleasure, sukham. When the desire is unfulfilled, you get dukkham, sorrow, pain. And all this is experienced by sanghata, the aggregate, the body. Body means not just physical body, subtle body as well. And then he says chetana, intelligence. Intelligence is the ability of your intellect store that knowledge and retrieve it at the proper time and place and apply that knowledge. This is called intelligence. If you have the knowledge, you have acquired knowledge, you have stored the knowledge, but you don't retrieve it at the right time, then it's all gone. It's like I come, you're fully prepared, I have knowledge, and then something goes wrong, as something will go wrong. And the mind, if the mind gets agitated, I lose the capacity to retrieve the knowledge, then I am not intelligent, unintelligent. It applies to all of us. So intelligence is the capacity to acquire knowledge, store it, retrieve it, and apply it at the right time and place. And then comes dhriti, firmness, consistency of application. You see, compared to the bulk of the effect of your past actions, suppose your past actions have been negative, they take you in the wrong course, the momentum takes you in the wrong direction. And suppose now you understand, no, this is the way to work, this is the way to act, and you correct it. But one act, one thought is not enough to neutralize the bulk of your past, and therefore it is that consistency is all important. We do perform right actions, we perform outstandingly brilliant actions, but few and far between. Sometimes, rarely. That's of no use. What there has to be is consistency of application in a given direction. And that direction is set by your goal. So first of all, you must set a goal. What is it that I want to achieve in my life? If that goal is itself shaky, then your thoughts are shaky, your actions are shaky, everything goes haywire. This is the problem with us. It's not that we're not brilliant, it's not that we don't perform right actions, but there is no consistency. And there is no consistency because there is no firm goal. So this combination of intelligence and dhriti makes for a successful person. Unfortunately, we have either one or the other. An intelligent person doesn't have consistency of application. A consistent person doesn't have intelligence. Therefore, you need both. And this completes the 7 aspects, in fact 24 plus 7, 31 aspects of kshetra. And now he moves on, he takes on a completely different track, and we'll see what it is. Verse 8.
अमानित्वमदम्भित्वम् अहिंसा क्षान्तिरार्जवम् आचार्योपासनं शौचम् स्थैर्यमात्मविनिग्रहः.
First verse, Arjuna's question, he asks, what is kshetra, what is kshetrajna, what is jnanam, what is jneyam, what is prakriti, what is purusha. So here he has told us what is kshetra, what is the field, up to verse 7. And now he changes track and comes on to knowledge. So when he is defining knowledge, one would expect him to talk about Brahman, Atman, give definitions, pointers, this, that and the other. But when you read verse 8, what does he say? Amanitvam, lack of pride, adambhitvam, unpretentiousness, ahimsa, non-injury, kshanti, forgiveness, arjavam, straightforwardness, acharya upasanam, service of the teacher, shaucham, purity, sthairyam, steadiness, atmavinigraha, self-control. So what is he giving us here is 20 traits of the wise. He tells us what are, from verse 8 to 12, he gives us 20 most outstanding qualities of the wise. And at the end he concludes and says, Etat jnanam, this is knowledge. Meaning, you might master the Bhagavad Gita, you might know the Upanishads, you might know Viveka Chudamani. This morning somebody came and told me, Shankara Bhashya, this, that and the other. But if you do not have these 20 traits, you are not a person of knowledge. On the other hand, you may be totally illiterate, you may not know Sanskrit, you may not know the scriptures, you may not know anything. But if you have these qualities, you are considered a person of knowledge, you are elevated to this higher state. Says Krishna, not me. And this is the most outstanding aspect of knowledge. It has nothing to do with what you know, it has something to do with the qualities you imbibe. It has nothing to do with whether you know Sanskrit or you don't know Sanskrit. It has nothing to do with whether you know Shankara Bhashyas or you don't know Shankara. You might not have even heard of Shankaracharya. But if you have these qualities, you are considered wise by Krishna. What other endorsement do you want? Most wonderful qualities. And the first quality, he starts with a negative. Amanitvam, no mana. A means non. Ahimsa, non-injury. So, amanitvam, lack of pride. Why does he put it in the negative? Because we understand pride. We understand ego. We understand